Second defendant pleads guilty in the murder of Paulwell's daughter and her mother. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. A second defendant charged in the abduction and murder of 27-year-old Tashina Pattison and 10-month-old Saraya Paulwell has pleaded guilty. The accused, whose identity has not been released, pleaded guilty on Friday afternoon when he appeared before Justice Lorna Shelley Williams in the Home Circuit Court. The defendant, who brokered a deal with prosecutors, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of conspiracy to murder, 2 counts of conspiracy to kidnap, accessory before the fact, and misprision of felony. Friday's development followed the guilty plea entered on Thursday by another defendant in the same case. The 2 men are to be sentenced on November 15. Leota Bradshaw, her cousin, Roland Balford, as well as Richard Brown and Rasheen Miller are charged in that murder. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck is defending the imposition of a mandatory minimum sentence of 50 years for capital murder. Noting that the high rate of homicides remains a serious problem for the country, Mr. Chuck is asking for 50 years for anyone who commits murder. A joint select committee of Parliament is considering the criminal justice bill, which seeks to increase the mandatory minimum sentence for capital murder. Chuck said, while there is no one solution to the problem, all avenues for deterrence must be explored. We have to really tackle the problem of murder from all angles because at the end of the day, Jamaica cannot continue to tolerate the level of criminality, violence, and murder which we have in the country, he argued. A man who is on the St. James wanted list for a double murder and wounding with intent was captured in the parish on Sunday. Police report that Lorenzo Walters, otherwise called Larry, was held in a joint police-military operation. His sister was also arrested in the incident and is expected to be charged with harboring a fugitive. Reports are that before the hours of 4 a.m. and 7:30 a.m., the security force conducted the operation at a premises in search of Walters. And during the operation, the premises that was occupied by Walters' 26-year-old sister was searched and Walters was seen and apprehended. Additionally, 6 letter-sized sheets of paper, 3 notebooks containing identity information, 8 cellular phones, and 1 tablet were also seized, the police said. Both Walters and his sister were arrested. Meanwhile, the prosecution's main witness in the Everton Beaches Stout MacDonald trial on Friday admitted that the Portland businesswoman's wife Tonya had contracted him to kill the men who allegedly murdered her father. MacDonald and his co-accused Oscar Barnes are on trial for Tonya's murder. Denvelin Minot, during cross-examination, agreed with Mr. MacDonald's attorney, Christopher Townsend, that Mrs. MacDonald hired him to execute the men. Earlier in the trial, the witness testified that Mr. MacDonald told him that he had orchestrated his father-in-law's murder. And prior to Friday's adjournment, the witness who lured Tonya to Sherwood Forest Main Road in Portland on July 20 of 2020, where her body was found with a throat slash, said he hugged her after she had received the fatal wound. He said it was difficult for him to leave the lifeless body of the woman he claimed to be in love with at the scene. The witness, who said he had blood on his clothes, explained that when he was leaving the crime scene, he had attempted to stop a marked service vehicle, but the policeman drove right past him. Minot, who is serving 19 years in prison for his role in the woman's murder, said he subcontracted Barnes to carry out the hit because he could not bring himself to kill her himself. A man who was wanted for the murder of his brother in Montego Bay in St. James is now in police custody. Ricardo Pusey, a resident of Gully Farm Heights in St. James, was captured Thursday during a police operation, and he was being sought for the murder of his brother Wilton Pusey, who died of wounds sustained during a domestic dispute on October 4th at their home in Gully Farm Heights. Member of a quick response team swooped down on a car wash on Lower Market Street in Montego Bay Thursday afternoon, where the suspect was seen sitting under a shed. He was arrested and is now being questioned by detectives. Meanwhile, the Kingston Western Police said that evidence collected at the scene of a murder in the division in 2019 assisted them in identifying and nabbing the alleged killer. Derek Bender, a 54-year-old resident of 4th Avenue in Vineyard Town, was charged on Wednesday with the murder of 57-year-old Carl Clark, a businessman and shop operator of Greenwich Crescent on Kingston 5. Mr. Clark was found murdered at his home on Tuesday, June 25th of 2019. Senior Superintendent Michael Phillips, head of the Kingston Western Police, said that forensic evidence collected at the crime scene assisted investigators in identifying the suspect, who was recently captured during a police operation. The Trelawney police are awaiting forensic results to determine the identity of a partially decomposed female body which was discovered in Falmouth on Saturday. The police theorized that the woman was murdered elsewhere and dumped at the location where it was found. Reports are that the partially decayed body was discovered in bushes near Foreshore Road in the Trelawney capital by residents who then alerted the police. The law enforcers processed the scene, after which the body was removed to a funeral home. Meanwhile, 5 persons were shot, 1 person dead on Benbow Street on Saturday night as war intensified again. The dead man is said to be an Odean who is a porter at the Children's Hospital. And it is said that there was a party when gunmen known to the people in the community invaded the area and opened fire on the crowd. And we'll have more information tomorrow. On to sports, the pickup Jamaican team that JFF fling together to represent have turned out to be an embarrassment to football supporters everywhere. The makeshift women's team went down 6-0 to host Chile in the football competition at the Pan American Games in Santiago on Saturday. The result means that Jamaica women lost all their matches at the games after going down 10-0 to Paraguay and 7-0 to Mexico. The Jamaica Football Federation said it has now paid all balance due to the members of the national senior women's football squad that competed at the recent FIFA World Cup. In a release on Friday afternoon, the Federation also said it started processing payments to all the players who featured in the qualifying rounds but were not in the final World Cup squad. On to schoolboy football Manning Cup matches on Saturday. It will be all to play for between Tivoli Gardens High and Haile Selassie in their second leg return fixture as they played out to a 0-0 draw at Winchester Park on Saturday. In the other matches, defending champions Jamaica College blank Eltham High 3-0, while last year's beaten finalist St. Andrew Tech recorded the widest margin of victory on the day, blanking Kingston Tech 4-0. Elsewhere, former champion St. George's College got by St. Jago 2-0. Kingston College came from behind to beat Campion College 3-2, and St. Catherine High defeated Wolmer's Boys 2-0. At Royal Lakes, Hydel High and Excelsior played out a 0-0 draw, while at Mona High, they beat Jonathan Grant 4-0 in the late contest at Prison Oval. While in the Costa Cup round of 16, defending champions Clarendon College and 2 other former winners, St. Elizabeth Tech and Frome, were winners as the round of 16 football competition got underway on Saturday. Clarendon College turned back Mile Gully High 2-0 to extend their perfect win record to 11 games this season and lead Group 1 on goal difference over Stets, who edged 10-man Cornwall College 3-2 at Jarrett Park. And despite being forced to make a change in the first 10 minutes because of injury and down to 10 players just before halftime, Cornwall College rallied twice to tie up the score at 2-2, but an 88-minute goal from Dante Campbell saw Stets take all 3 points. Meanwhile, DeMar Williams' 20th-minute goal was good enough for Frome Technical to beat Port Antonio High 1-0 at Carter Park. Manchester High also won their 13th consecutive game of the season with a 4-1 win over first-time qualifiers Taki High School at Manchester High. While Happy Grove lost for the first time this season, giving up a 2-1 lead to lose 3-2 to BB Coke, who took the lead through Jamal Wright in the 10th minute. Dintil Technical also lost their perfect win record after they were held 0-0 by Magrat High, whom they had beaten twice in the first round, while Christiana High outscored William Nib 3-2. So the result for Saturday's game, Clarendon College 2, Mile Gully 0, Stets 3, Cornwall College 2, Manchester High 4, Taki High 1, Magrat 0, Dintil Technical 0, Christiana High 3, William Nib Memorial 2, BB Coke High 3, Happy Grove 2, Frome Technical 1, Port Antonio 0, while Glenmure and Garvey Maceo 1 apiece. And don't forget that the best Manning Cup and the Costa Cup reports takes place on this here radio station. If you ever miss the news on this station, please go to YouTube, type in Jamerican, that's Jamerican, undiluted news. Listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. That's news and sports on your favorite radio station. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.